Que lo que, gente, hoy yo no me siento tan bien, me duele mucho la garganta y la cabeza, pero I told you guys that I would come on today, so here I am. Let me make sure I put the link into the comment section right quick. Give me a second so I can put this in there. I wish there was a way for me to drop it in before coming live so that I'll really be ready to go, but let me see if I put it right there. Okay, got it. All right, so the link is there, guys, if you guys want to join. If this is your first time being here, hola, my name is Demontre, yo me llamo Demontre Brown. Y aquí hablamos y practicamos el español. Um, Again, if you're just now joining, hello, happy Monday. I am not feeling the best. My throat is hurting and my head is hurting. I'm really bad. But I decided to still come on here, talk with you guys, answer some questions, all the things. So thank you for being here. Hello, hello. Um, let's see. I sent the link out to some people. Hopefully they join. And we'll just go from there. Feliz lunes a todos los que me están viendo. Hola, hola. Again, if you're just now joining and you want to come up here with me, you guys, there should be a link in the comment section for you guys to do, to click on, copy and paste to your search bar. You guys can come up here as well. Again, your camera does not have to be on. Si tú quieres venir y hablar conmigo. See who joins today. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to talk today. My throat is hurting. Tengo dolor de la garganta y tengo dolor de la cabeza también. Let's see. What else did I want to add in here? I low-key, let me see. No, maybe not. Okay. I'm trying to see who's all gonna be on today. I did want to teach you guys that are coming in. So throughout the day, I'm always thinking about different phrases that I can teach you guys that maybe you guys are not so familiar with or haven't learned, or you don't just find in a textbook or something like that. And one of the phrases that came to my mind today was "Cuántos años?" Hold on, let me put it in here. "Cuántos años me pones?" Right. So that's a phrase that I hear a lot of natives using, but I don't see it being taught anywhere for you guys that are learning Spanish to know what the phrase is. Let me see. ¿Cuántos años me pones or cuántos años me? Hello, Chelsea. Hello, hello. How are you today? Me echas. So Chelsea, that's a phrase. I don't know if you knew that, but I don't know when you got in here, but I was just saying how throughout the day I'm always thinking of different phrases that I could share with you guys that is maybe not too familiar with. Hello.
Hola,
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
bien, ¿y tú?
Súper, súper bien. ¿Y tú cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Sharon.
Sharon, ok, un placer conocerte.
¿Cómo?
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto, igualmente.
Yo estoy súper bien, gracias. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de California,
Oh, ¿de qué parte?
Sacramento.
Oh, ok, Sacramento. Ok, ok. ¿Y cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo ahí?
Ah, ¿Qué tiempo?
Ajá, ¿cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo allá?
Ah, para mí es hace frío.
Ok. No, 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 no. Sí, sí,
Pero,
o sea, no. ¿Por cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo en Sacramento?
oh, sí, porque estoy viendo
¿Qué fue?
poquito. You say it's windy, right?
Well, no, I'm saying cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo, to live. How long have you been living in Sacramento? Were you born there?
Oh, how long? Oh, ¿cuánto tiempo? Oh, mm, 25 años.
Ok, 25 años. Oh, ¿cuántos años tienes?
Tengo 31 años.
31 años, ok. ¿Y cuánto tiempo llevas aprendiendo español?
No me he ido porque mi tía es en la cocina cocinada y escuchado música.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay.
Yeah, let me move. Not the dog.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, here we go. I'll just go to the front. Okay.
¿Y eso cuánto tiempo llevas aprendiendo español?
Aprendiendo español para muchos años, pero en la pasado 4 años y yo he tocando español en mi colegio
Ujú.
y español es mi ¿cómo se dice major? Well, one of them.
Your major. In college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is major? I know it. It's not coming to my mind. Chelsea, hello. Do you know how to say major in Spanish? It's not coming to my mind right now.
Mine either. I was just sitting there thinking about that. Like,
No, I know it. I can't think of it right now. But okay, your major. Uh-huh.
Yeah, sí. Solamente una clase de completa en menor colegio. Is that the right? Like junior college?
Okay.
For yeah,
Yeah, these are words I don't know how to say either.
for my
So
AA,
okay.
and I can't seem to pass it. It's like the 5th year level.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. So what got you into like wanting to learn Espanol?
Well, toda mi vida, pero cuando yo 12 a 16 años, me he visto en Oregon, pero toda mi vida en California y
Mhm.
en muchos años en Sur California
Okay.
y muchas personas um, hablan español
Mhm.
y yo pienso es muy interesante
Mhm.
y cuando yo oí es muy bonita.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Te está saliendo. Te está saliendo.
Sí.
So te está saliendo is a phrase. Chelsea, how would I say that in English?
what was the question?
How would I say it in English? Te está saliendo.
Mm, ¿Te estás saliendo?
Yeah, te está saliendo was like so how she was just talking and then like she kind of like felt like she was saying it wrong, but te está saliendo was like
Like it's flowing.
yeah, like you're flowing, it's making sense, like you're getting it out. Like I'm understanding what you're saying. Yeah, te está
Sí,
saliendo.
sí, muchas
Um,
personas cuando yo hablo, muchos hispanohablantes, um,
hispanohablantes.
Hispanohablantes.
hispanohablantes, sí, ellos, oh,
Te dicen,
I can't remember the verb, to understand.
oh, te entienden o te
Sí,
pueden
ellos,
entender.
yeah, sí, entienden, ellos me entienden,
Mhm.
pero yo sé que no uso la conjugados
Uh-huh.
Conjugación.
correcto.
Uh-huh. Hola, Kelo.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Súper bien. Es la primera vez que yo te veo.
Sí, es mi primera vez aquí.
Ok, ¿y cómo estás?
No me puedo quejar.
No te puedes quejar, qué bueno. ¿Y tú cuánto tiempo llevas hablando español? Que lo hablas súper bien.
Mm,
Llevo mucho tiempo hablando español.
Ajá.
ah,
¿Cuánto tiempo entonces?
¿Cuánto tiempo? Más de 10 años.
Wow, ok.
Como nosotros, ok.
¿Y de dónde eres?
Yo soy de Miami, pero ya vivo en Atlanta.
Oh, ya viviste en Atlanta, ok. ¿Y cómo te gusta vivir allá en Atlanta?
Sí,
Hay por allá, no hay muchos hispanohablantes, ¿no?
espérate un momento.
¿En Miami?
Ok, mejor.
No, él ya se mudó para Atlanta.
Sí, me mudé a Atlanta porque mi familia vive acá.
Ok. No, yo fui una vez, yo creo que yo tenía 19 años cuando yo fui para Atlanta y yo no me encontraba con ninguna persona que hablara español. No, I didn't run into anyone that spoke Spanish there. So, Kendall, ¿cómo encontraste mi canal? O sea, ¿cómo llegas aquí en el día de hoy?
Bueno, I was sitting on the couch and you popped up. So I'm like, déjame practicar mi español.
Qué bueno, qué bueno. So Kendall's first time here, and then Miss Sharon's first time here as well. I wanted to try to help you, Miss Sharon. So I was hearing some of the mistakes you were making, and I wanted to go back over them just so that way you could get an understanding, so you didn't make those mistakes again. So you were trying to. How did you say the last 4 years?
And I said in cuatro años pasados.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Kendall and Chelsea, would you guys agree with that statement, or how would you guys word it?
No, los últimos 4 años.
De acuerdo.
Right. Los últimos 4 años is the way to say it. What else? Chelsea, did you hear anything else we could help her with? I can't.
I mean, there was a few things, but like I could tell. So I'm guessing like where you're at in your journey, you're still on that thinking to English to Spanish thing.
So
I think that maybe that's kind of gonna.
Yeah.
Do you like right now? Do you still kind of think?
I do, and yeah, except for like really easy phrases, but sometimes, because of the level I'm at in the school, like we learn so many tenses, it gets really complicated that sometimes I forget like the simple ones, like just the preterite y the futuro y.
Right.
Because we're all into the subjunctive and the past subjunctive and the future subjunctive and the this and the that, and then it's just like, and really like subjunctive is not that hard for me. I just know it's more like giving an opinion on something. So, but it's just the conjugations. I'm like, okay, what tense do I want to say this in now?
And Mr. Kendall, for you, do you have any consejos or anything for Miss Sharon as far as what she could do? Para no estar pensando demasiado en inglés.
Sí, cuando hablas español no hay tiempo para pensar. No puedes pensar en inglés y a la misma vez en español. You just gotta let it flow. He said before, when he said está saliendo, that means it's coming out. You gotta let it just come out. Even if you make mistakes, as long as you're understood, that's the point of speaking a language.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. I forget sometimes how to say things in English. Like I know what I'm trying to say, but it's not no me sale. So there's that. Ronnie, hello, Ronnie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, piggybacking off of what Kendall said, you can't really think in 2 languages. And I know it's hard because you want to, because English is your first language. But what happens is sometimes when you're doing that, like going back and forth, you get a little confused, and it can confuse the person you're speaking with. But one thing that helped me, conjugation drills. Like if you literally sit there and write out how to conjugate the different words, and I know it's old fashioned, obviously. We're not in those days now, like we're Kindle and the 10 years ago days where you were writing everything out. But it really does help because you kind of commit it to memory. So when you're actually speaking, you don't have to kind of think back and forth, like, how do I conjugate this? You said it so much or practiced it so much, it's already in your brain.
Yeah, that's what I started doing. Like I started using ChatGPT for it. Like just having them like, okay, just start giving me the tenses, everything except for the present, because the present I feel like I have it pretty much down, but like just trying to remember like the patterns, you know. So then it took me back to the past tense, and it's doing the imperfect and you know.
Right. Ronnie, ¿eres la única persona en tu familia que habla español?
Yo tengo familia, pues la familia que vive allá en Panamá.
Ay, no, yo quise decir Kendall. Ya te conozco a ti, Ronnie. Espérate.
No, yo soy la única persona en mi familia que habla español.
Okay.
Mi madre es de las Bahamas y mi padre es de Iowa.
Okay.
Y el campo.
¿Cómo es esa experiencia para ti, ser el único en tu familia que hable español? ¿Me escuchaste la pregunta?
¿Cómo?
O sea, ¿cómo ha sido esa experiencia para ti, siendo la única persona en tu familia que puede hablar otro idioma?
Bueno, siendo la única persona en mi familia que habla español, siempre tengo que traducir para ellos porque ellos no entienden español. Y aquí en Georgia hay muchos mexicanos, y cuando yo vivía en Miami hay tantos cubanos, dominicanos. Hay más gente que habla español que inglés. Entonces tú puedes ir al supermercado y no hay nadie que habla inglés, y por eso tienes que comunicar en ese idioma.
Interesante. Elijah, hello.
Hola, ¿cómo tú estás? ¿Cómo estás?
Súper bien. ¿Y tú cómo estás?
Todo bien, todo bien.
Qué bueno. ¿Cómo pasaste el día hoy?
Nada, solo working out. Just went to the gym.
¿Tú fuiste para el gimnasio hoy?
Sí, sí.
Okay, so for the new people like Miss Sharon and Mr. Kendall, so this is Elijah. Elijah, his first time being on was ayer, yesterday, and he's been learning for about 3 months. Yeah, he's only been learning about 3 months, and so for Elijah, for you guys have a little bit more time. Is there anything like you guys would like to say to Elijah as far as him being on his journey, some things that he's going to encounter, run into? How to work his way through it? Like, what would you guys say to him? Someone who's been learning for only 3 months.
Habla mucho con.
I'd say there are no shortcuts. A lot of people are looking for instant gratification, so they start with things like common phrases. But if someone were to teach you how to say, "Where's the bathroom?" in Chinese, what's going to happen when they respond in Chinese? The conversation is going to go right back to English. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people who are learning Spanish. They learn these common phrases, and then people respond and they freeze and they go back to English.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then I also think one thing that was probably the hardest for me is just knowing that you're gonna have to push yourself out your comfort zone. Like, and that one thing I love about your channel, you will definitely do that. Like, you don't for you don't get nervous, but yeah, you're gonna say things wrong. I still do to this day. I'm sure you guys do too. Like, it's gonna happen. Just accept that you will say things wrong, but it's not. People aren't gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you don't speak Spanish because you said something wrong." Like, just accept it's gonna happen, and you'll feel better, because when it does happen, you won't freak out and you won't stop learning.
Right. Go ahead. Do you have any comments to that, Elijah?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that was great advice. I was gonna ask another question because I know y'all said to speak and there's no shortcuts. Right. And I'm trying to practice getting out of my comfort zone, but I just wanted to ask, like, I know like speaking and listening and comprehension are like two different skills. Like, which one, like maybe it might be different for different people, but which one would y'all say like y'all picked on faster, like comprehension or speaking? Like, what became easier or like more? I don't know how to, like, yeah, what was easier to catch on? Was the speaking or the listening?
Whoever wants to respond, you guys can go ahead.
Where I'm at right now, I think comprehension is a little bit better as long as they talk slow. Because where I'm at with my class, it's taught in Spanish, like the classes I take. So, but they're not talking that fast. So that definitely helps. And speaking, sometimes I stumble. Writing is way up there in reading, but I think that comes with when you take classes. So, and that's what I want to say. Like a lot of people like skip over that part. Like I can understand like not having the funds or the time, but I think like taking a class really helps because you have a teacher there who's both, and it gives you like daily practice and the homework, and it gives you like they can understand, they can teach you the grammar stuff. So a lot of times, like when you just talk to your friends or you just immerse yourself, like you pick up on the grammar stuff like intuitively, but you can't explain it. Like I have a friend, he speaks way better than me, but like he doesn't know as much grammar points, and so or like how to conjugate or what different tenses mean. So I don't know. That's what a lot of people try to shy away from though when they give advice.
I have a funny story. I went to the Dominican Republic to study abroad when I was in college. And I thought I knew a lot of Spanish, but as soon as I touched down, somebody said to me, "¿Cómo tú estás?" And I was like, "What?" And everything they said there, I didn't understand. And after being over there for 3 months, I swear, one day I woke up and I could hear word for word, like what they were saying in Spanish. Like I could chop up what they said. And I felt like once I hit that point, then my Spanish really took off, because if I understood 90% of the sentence and there was that one word I didn't understand, I could figure it out with context clues.
Right.
But when I first touched down, it all sounded like it just blurred together.
One thing I would say to answer your question too, Elijah, when you're trying to figure out which one is going to give you the less amount of problems, whether the comprehension or speaking. Me personally, I think the listening, like the comprehension, will give you less problems, only because once you know a certain amount of words or phrases and they're speaking to you, you can kind of pick and choose like what they're saying, and then you can kind of like try to figure it out like a puzzle, figuring out what they're saying, versus you speaking on your own and not having as much vocabulary or worried about grammar and trying to speak and sounding like a little crazy. They're both equally as important, but I know from my own experience, the listening, the comprehending was easier for me than speaking at first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I sort of can like resonate or like relate to what Kendall had said, like when he said like I'm not all the way there with my comprehension, but it seemed like when I had first started learning, like it just seemed like very like almost impossible to even think I'd be able to comprehend anything. But like today, like I was listening to a podcast and I almost like understood, or like he said if I didn't understand it, I would use like my context clues to sort of get an idea of what the topic is about, which I know I couldn't do that. Like maybe even a couple weeks ago, I couldn't even do that. Like I was frustrated. So like it's like I just woke up today and I had that success and it motivated me. So I definitely think that's true. Like what Kendall said and what you said. So
Absolutely. Ronnie, tú estás bien calladito. Like, tú no tienes nada que decir hoy.
No, es que quiero dejar que todos ellos hablen y,
Está bien.
no quiero, sí, exacto, no quiero cortar la conversación.
No
Pero
tienes nada que
sí,
aportar a la conversación.
¿cómo?
No tienes nada que aportar a la conversación.
Sí, yo tengo mucho que añadir a la conversación.
No, dale unos consejos al Mr. Elijah aquí.
And all right, definitely. Like, I would say for sure, I agree with like everyone in the room right now. Like, with the points that they brought up, and specifically, Elijah, for your question about the reading comprehension. I meant the listening comprehension versus speaking. Like, I'll say as well. Like, I agree with like mostly everyone else. Where I think the listening is easier. Understanding is going to be easier before speaking, just because. And I don't really know the exact science behind it really, but it's like I feel like I noticed during my journey, I definitely, like, every step of the journey, I felt like understanding people, kind of like you guys said, was a bit easier because you could at least make out what they're saying, or maybe use context clues and whatnot. But whenever I would try to speak, during those stages of like struggling, I feel like I wouldn't really be able to like speak fluently like that. Like, but I could understand more people more than I could speak. So I feel like definitely the listening and understanding will probably come first. And at some point, they both get better. Like you'll eventually, like Kendall said, you'll reach a point where you can understand like 60%, then 70%, then 90 to 100. And it just kind of goes up. You constantly improve over time. And then like there's a point, I feel like once you get to that 100% or 90% of understanding people, you'll be able to talk. Like it kind of just comes hand to hand. It's a little weird and hard to explain. I don't know if you guys also experience that, but once you get really good at understanding, I feel like your brain can kind of process Spanish more, and you can kind of output now a little bit better,
right?
As much as you can input.
Okay, so do you think I should focus more on trying to comprehend, like, as well, or no? Like, because I know grammar is also important, like studying that. But I feel like, yeah, that's my question. Do you think I should try to just comprehend more?
Yeah, I feel like, well, I'm not gonna say definitely only try to comprehend, because like Chelsea said as well, you gotta talk. Like you should be talking like as much as you can as well. So like you're gonna have to go through that struggle, and that's okay. Like we were saying, you might make errors or whatever, and that's a part of the learning process too. So that's fine. I would say still try to talk whenever you get an opportunity to talk with people, like now or in any other like situation. Definitely take it and just push yourself and try to talk. But for the comprehension, like definitely make that a priority too. Like I would say, try to like you're doing, like listening to podcasts. Like you mentioned, the grammar is very important. You have to understand, you have to like learn the grammar and the conjugations as well, and use repetition so you can start to like really grasp the meaning of those phrases in the grammar until it just sticks. And when that starts to stick, you'll notice your understanding is going to get a lot better too, because you will already have learned those phrases. Like we were saying, like there's a lot of different grammar structures. I don't know, like tener que, or like what else is there? There's so many. There's so many, and on the spot, it's funny. I can't even like think of them, but I could use it. But like, there's so many grammatical like phrases you have to learn, and you want to study those like as much as you can. Continue listening, and you're gonna see over time it's just gonna improve. Like it's gonna sink eventually, and you're gonna be like, okay, I don't have to think about using tener que, and like when you hear it, it's just boom, it just comes to you, and you'll be able to understand better. So the grammar is definitely important. I feel like that's like one of the beginning steps too.
I had a question for Kendall and Miss Sharon. How do you guys think it's more important to learn phrases before, like trying to focus on vocabulary? Or what would you say regarding to that, Mr. Kendall? I saw you shake your head no.
Yeah, I think most people never learn Spanish because they don't do what's necessary, which is to learn the grammar. I think before you break the rules, you need to master the rules. And once you learn the grammar, you can create your own sentences.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Okay. What do you think about that, Miss Sharon?
I think learning phrases can be useful, like in your very, very, very beginning stages, like "Cómo te llamas" and "Cómo estás," like stuff like that, like very simple, like traveling phrases. But like he said, like once somebody responds, you need to know the responses too. But I think also at the same time, like you need to be learning like your vocabulary and your grammar at the same time, so that you don't like do something that's kind of like could offend the culture, like using the to form instead of use dead form, or like you would know, so I think I think I think that helps with like also speaking and writing and things like that. If that's what you're into, if you're into writing, if you're into reading and stuff, definitely learning grammar. But also, like you said, like you have to know the rules before you break them.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a good way to put it because I actually never thought about it that way, to know the rules before you break them. So you guys just gave me a new perspective with that.
I break the rules all the time because once you start hearing everybody else break the rules, then it's kind of like, you know what? When in Rome, do what the Romans do. Like in Spanish, for gente is plural, but they conjugate it gente, the way you're supposed to conjugate it is singular, but the way some people use it is plural. Like instead of saying la gente habla, they might say la gente hablan.
Right.
But I wouldn't do that unless my Spanish was at a certain level, and then doing things like dropping S's from words. I do it. I'm sure some people might think I don't know how to conjugate, but I do it because other people do it. Panamanians do it, Dominicans do it, Cubans, Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Yeah, I do this. Like, I'm so used to this because majority of people I speak with are Dominican. So I do that so bad, so bad. But sometimes, like when I'm at work, I remind myself, like, Chelsea, you got to pronounce everything. But no, I 100% agree with Kendall. I think in order for you to truly speak a language, like you can have a basic understanding of certain things, common phrases like "Donde está el baño?" or certain like small things like "Cómo te llamas?" like little things. But if you really want to get to a point of speaking with fluency, there has to be that vocabulary there.
Right.
It's just, otherwise you're just not going to be able to use the language. Even if you can piece together this word or that word, if you don't have a good base, where are you going to pull from in conversation? So like you said earlier, there are no shortcuts. You have to learn that grammar. You have to learn that vocabulary, and not even as much. The vocabulary has to be there, because even if you don't quite have the grammar down pat, at least if you have a good base of vocabulary, you can kind of piece together what's taking place. But a lot of people do want to skip past that. They want to, watch novellas and then, oh, I speak Spanish. No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
And Elijah, what do you have to say to those? How do you respond?
I think I'm gonna start trying to incorporate like all that advice, trying to take the grammar more seriously. Like, I know we were talking about it yesterday, but like they said, there's no shortcuts to anything. So I agree.
And then I know how Miss Sharon feels about it. But for you, Mr. Kendall, and even for you, Chelsea, I don't know if I've asked, or for you too, Ronnie. Do you guys feel that it's important to take a class to learn? Because as somebody who learned completely on their own, I've never taken a class outside of like middle school for Spanish, and I've been able to reach a pretty high level. So, what do you guys take on like needing to take a class and studying with a teacher and things like that?
No, you don't have to. The majority of Spanish, I have taken courses in college. I have taken honor Spanish in high school. I've had multiple Spanish tutors. And to be honest with you, the majority of the Spanish that I learned is because I took the time to sit at home and learn it. And I took the time to read grammar books. I took the time to study flashcards. A lot of what they teach in class is not even going to stick. So no, I think you can certainly do it without a class. A class is helpful if you have the money to do that, but you don't have to, no.
And for you, Mr. Kendall?
Aprendí por mi cuenta también, pero pienso que, I guess, if you're not disciplined, maybe taking a class is a good thing to do so you can have someone to hold you accountable.
Okay. And then Miss Sharon, I'm guessing you would say taking a class is pretty beneficial.
They make good points. Like Chelsea made a good point. Like some of the stuff doesn't stick like once the class is over, but like some of the stuff does. But like where you hear certain stuff when you're talking, but you do have to put in the extra time to do your flashcards, to do like extra grammar. But it also is like somebody's holding you accountable. Like, okay, you have to turn this homework or else you're going to get an F or whatever. But I think part of my not understanding fluently is because they teach so much proper Spanish. They don't ever teach slang. So when I'm out just talking to people, like they're using slang or they're dropping syllables or they're, and I'm just like, that's not what I learned in class.
Right.
So I'm starting to like do it more and talk to my friend more. Trying to like, I wish they had like a slang class, so that would help me. But
Lonnie, ¿qué tú piensas de eso?
Sí, estoy de acuerdo. Yo creo que, bueno, it's like, I think it's not a requirement at all. You don't have to take a course, but I'll say I did take a course. And I'm not talking about I agree, the high school, exactly, being in the high school classes, the college courses in Spanish, it will give you like a beginner level. Like you'll get a like kind of a simple base. You'll know the common phrases that we spoke about, like "Cómo estás?" "Dónde está el baño?" You won't become fluent with those, but I did take a course, and it was like an asynchronous course. It was a course that it was made by this man from Spain, and it's like he has like 3 different versions of it. He has for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. I think if you have the discipline, and you stick to it, I think a course could help you. Because I'll say, but so I've been learning for like now a little over 2 years. It's been like 2 years and some change. And in the beginning of my journey, probably the first 4 to 5 months or so, I didn't really have that structure. And I was kind of doing what I think Chelsea mentioned, which was like kind of rushing through, trying to watch shows and stuff and being like, oh, I know Spanish. But I was only really, maybe like a B1 level or something like that. Wasn't fluent yet and missing a lot of grammar, things like that. But then I kind of gained some more structure, took that course. And in that course, there was a lot of like what we're talking about now, like repetition, hard focus on grammar, a lot of like conjugations and getting used to that. And so that course did help me a lot. And I noticed like pretty soon after I did start to improve a lot. But I think it depends on the course. I'd recommend it though. Like if you can get one, that's a course that focuses on what you need, like the grammar, the conjugations, and like phrases, and different parts of speech too. Like of course that'll take you through present, preterite, future, subjunctive, and things like that. I think it could be helpful. Not required at all, but it could be helpful.
Mr. Kendall, cuando estabas aprendiendo el español, ¿qué tan difícil para ti fue dominar y aprender el subjuntivo?
Bueno, todavía estoy tratando de dominar el subjuntivo y también otra cosa que es muy difícil es cómo se usa la palabra sé, porque
es verdad.
so many different ways, en muchas maneras.
Tantas maneras de usar esa palabra. Cuando yo estaba aprendiendo esa palabra, yo batallaba mucho con esa palabra, con la palabra le, sé, le, era, estuve, estaba. Esas palabras, they gave me so many problems, man.
Yeah.
Miss Sharon, I saw you were saying yes. You agree with the say as well?
Yeah, the say, the personal. It was something like at this level I'm at, like the personal use of it, like the say use, but also what gives me a lot of problems is oraciones, sí clauses.
Dame un ejemplo.
Por ejemplo, si yo estudio yo he
like, you mean like si yo fuera rica, viajaría por todo el mundo. Like if I was rich, I would travel the world.
Yeah, like
that's
those kind of yeah.
Version of the subjunctive. That's why the subjunctive is so hard.
Yeah, it's like subjunctive, but it also takes like if it's a how do you say, like if it's no way that it could happen, you use this tense.
Conditional.
Yeah, you use the conditional, but then you use the present subjunctive in the second part of it. If it's this tense, and if it's the past, then you would use like it's very complicated because it uses like all the tenses. And you have to like use the clues of the sentence to know like, okay, the first part is, for instance, conditional. The second part is the subjunctive, or the first part is the past. The second part would be the past subjunctive. Like it's so complicated.
I think we should do a live one day that we can dedicate the live to that and practicing that. One thing I want to do for you, Mr. Kendall, I don't know if you ever, do you know who Bilingue Blogs is?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, so he has a video on the topic of the many uses of "se" in Spanish, and he gives you. Did you watch that video already?
I've seen just about every video.
Okay. Well, that video, you might have to go back and rewatch that one because he literally breaks everything down for the word "se" in that video.
Yeah, I think otra cosa es muy importante que sepan que español no es inglés. Exactly. Por ejemplo, you know, se usa, you know, we don't have anything equivalent to that in English. Me gusta. A lot of people think that means I like, but we don't have anything equivalent to that in English. I go to the butcher every now and then, and when I want him to cut the chicken, in English, instead of bossing someone around and giving them a command, we'll ask them, can you do something for me?
Exactly. Yeah.
But in Spanish, they do something different. So I'll say, me lo corta, you know, like, are you cutting it up for me, sort of, you know, instead of can you? So I think you got to get out of the mindset that you're going to translate from English directly to Spanish. It just doesn't work like that. And I think that's what throws me off with "say," because there's so many different ways to use it. And I know how to use them. It's just hard for me to get that English mindset, get away from that English mindset.
Right. That is very true. I used to struggle with that as well. Like I talked about in many lives when I was first starting out. In my mind, everything would be translated. So someone talks to me in español, lo pienso en inglés. Or I'm thinking in my mind, like trying to translate palabra por palabra every single time. And then I got to a point where I started realizing, okay, you cannot do that. It's its own language. Like I have to look at it like it's its own. English is its own language, and Spanish is its own language, and they have different ways of expressing themselves, saying things. And so yeah, it just took a lot of practice. Someone said, "Me pones algo." What do you mean by that? I don't know what they're trying to say there. ¿Qué yo iba a decir? Yo iba a hacer una pregunta.
No tengo una pregunta.
No, I was gonna ask a question, but now I can't think anymore because this comment kind of threw me off. I don't know what they mean by that. Hello.
Are you gonna put it for me?
Oh, me pones algo. Are they trying to give an example? Are you trying to give an example to us, or? I'm not here. One of the comments said you can also audit Spanish courses or only take for credit to reduce the pressure while learning. The last college Spanish class I had, I actually did better when doing it for credit only. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Kendall, ¿quieres aprender otro idioma aparte del español o solamente el inglés y español?
Sí, en este momento estoy aprendiendo francés. Mi novia es de Haití y ella habla francés, pero you know what? ¿Tú sabes qué? You would think that would make it easier, but she's not listening and she'll probably never watch this video. She's the worst French teacher. She doesn't teach me anything. So what I do is I listen to her when she's talking to her friends and family, and surprisingly, I can pick up on a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's from the Spanish or if it's just that my brain has kind of evolved to absorb languages, but learning new languages, it comes pretty quick now. Like my Portuguese, I would say, is conversational for the most part, but I haven't used it for a long time.
En el año pasado, yo saqué italiano en la semestre y es muy similar que español. Y it made it much easier to learn it. A lot of the grammar stuff was the same. A lot of the words sounded the same. And then I was very grateful for the amount that I knew in Spanish, that I didn't have to start all over, like learning like beginning numbers and how to say what's your name or how are you. But like a lot of the words were so similar and the grammar. So, and I guess because it's another Romance language, like it helped. And I saw the video where you were saying to one of your lives, you were like, "Is it a dead language?"
Yeah, I thought so because I never hear anybody speaking Italian. But again, I live in Texas, so there's not a lot of Italians around here, I'm guessing. So that's why I thought it was a dead language. I'm gonna read a comment and then I'm gonna ask Kendall one more question because I'm very curious to know. And then Elijah, I'm gonna go back to you because I remember yesterday's live. I asked you if you could write something down that you wanted us to go over or explain to you, and then us collectively we can kind of help Elijah to break that down. So the comment says if you're trying to buy something in English, you'll say, "Can I have 5 oranges?" But in Spanish, "Me pones 5 naranjas." Yeah, me pones or me das. Yeah, you can say both. Or sometimes some people say me echas as well. So all of that works. Kendall, I have one more question for you. So you say that you que estás tratando de aprender el francés. ¿Tú crees que el francés y el español son parecidos?
No, no son parecidos, pero like todos los idiomas funcionan igual. Like
Igual.
you have, you know, you always start with a subject and then a verb. So I have a way of learning a language where I start with my subject pronouns, then I learn how to conjugate in the present tense, and then I add additional parts of speech, and then learn all the other conjugations. And, you know, once you learn all your parts of speech and you have enough vocabulary, you can start communicating. So they're not alike, but I think if you understand how languages work, then it makes it easier to learn the next.
Very good. I remember people always saying how similar Spanish and French are, and I think they're very similar in terms of grammar. They're just alike, but I don't hear them sound. French is like it's a whole. I don't even know what they're saying when they're speaking French.
Yeah.
Versus like with Portuguese, it's very similar to Spanish. I can hear it and understand it as well. Hello, Jameer. So that was a question I wanted to ask you. Elijah, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes. So did you write down anything that you wanted us to help you go over or to learn at all?
It was about like the say when why I hear the say word like all the time. Like sometimes it'll be like and they were just talking about it too. So I was like when they were talking about it, I was like when I had my mic on mute, but I was like frustrated with them because I don't understand it. Sometimes I'll see it and like have no idea why it's there. Or like sometimes when they use adjectives like lay, like le, like I don't know when to use it when speaking, but I know that's just grammar and I just got to stop slacking.
Absolutely. For anybody in the chat, do you guys have any examples in your mind that you could give to him in a scenario where say would be used? I think I have like a few in my mind, but I won't let you guys go first.
And just to clarify, we are referring to like reflexive verbs, right? So
just the word say in general, because it's more than just the reflexive verbs, but reflexive verbs, for example, for sure. Is that the one you want to like kind of let him in on, Miss Chelsea? The reflexive verbs?
What? I guess I just want to understand which exactly he's referring to, so I can kind of.
Well, he just wants to know. So basically, the word "say" has many different meanings, and what I'm trying to get us to do is each of us could, whatever comes to your mind. Like for you, reflexive verbs came to your mind. So are you able to kind of break that down and what that means for him to understand that use of "say"? And then I'll give him a different use of "say."
Yeah. Okay. So I guess if we're in terms of obviously there are a lot of word or examples where "say" can be used, but one of the first ones I guess I learned in school was with reflexive verbs, which are just basically verbs where I don't know why it is this way in Spanish, but it is what it is. It's like you're doing something to yourself.
Right.
Which literally you're not always, like, for example, a good example, we talked about it the other day by how to say, you're not literally like putting yourself down, but you're putting yourself down. Like bájate, like get down, which that's, I don't know why it is that way in Spanish, but you know, 2 different languages, it is what it is. But a lot of times you will hear that say when it's literally just a verb of something you're doing to yourself. So like cepillarse, like to brush yourself. So if I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna brush my hair, me voy a cepillar. Like it literally means I'm gonna brush my hair. You know what I'm saying? It's some verbs are like that, some are not, but you'll see it more commonly with just a lot of things that you normally do, like getting dressed, getting ready, moving your body around in different ways. For some reason, reflexive verbs tend to be used in those situations. As far as lay goes, so like, le voy a decir a ella que no puedo venir. Like, I'm going to tell her I can't go. Lay very often is what you'll see when you're referring to something that you're going to do to someone else. Or something that someone is going to do to someone else, rather, because it doesn't always have to be like, dile a ella que su computadora ya está aquí. Like, tell her that her computer is here. So that lay in that case is like, tell her. It literally, most of the time, is just used to express something that you're doing to someone else. Sorry, y'all. I know that was a long explanation, but I hope y'all understood me.
Yeah. And then also le can turn into say. If I say lo hablo, that means I speak it. If I say le hablo, that means I speak to her or I speak to him. Or I could say le hablo a él or le hablo a ella. But if you want to use le and lo together, then le is going to change into say. So se lo hablo means I speak it to him or I speak it to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with say.
So you can use it for like multiple meanings. Like basically the lay and say, I should think of it like almost like related. Like I could almost, if I could use say right, I could use lay right.
Yeah. No, when Kendall was saying lay turns into say, that's literally when it's referring, like when it's, they call it say low. You never lay low, right? So if literally that's how we learned it. You're never gonna put lay and low together. So if, for example, I work in pharmacy. If I want to tell a customer I can send your medication to your house. Se lo podemos mandar a su casa. Like we can send it to your house, because I can't say lelo vamos a mandar a su casa. It just won't make sense. But if there's no lo or no la behind it, then it's lay. But if that lo and la is there, it becomes selo or sela.
Okay.
The way I learned it, it was part of it too, is like reflexive pronouns, but also like I don't know the grammar, but it's like they can replace words too. So like, for instance, you say like, oh, she's going to the car dealership to buy the car. And so then you can say like, compráselo, like she bought it. So like it, you know what I mean? Like it replaces words, it shortens it. Like if it's already understood, like the object to what you're talking about and who you're talking about, like they can replace, if that makes sense to anybody.
Yeah, you're talking low and la replace it.
Like it can replace it, and then it could like attach it in the verbs or before. Yeah.
I think what we'll have to do for you, Elijah, is just like literally, like what I'll do is I'll plan it out. I'll plan out the different ways and get examples, and then we'll come on here and we'll be able to help you that way. So that way it's not super confusing for you, because I have a feeling that you're confused. Are you confused?
I understand it more, but I'm still like, of course, like I don't fully understand it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you're a little confused. What you can do though is, since you now know, I know when I was learning Spanish and I kept seeing something like, for example, the subjunctive. I kept seeing sea, vea, tenga, hable, but I didn't know what word it was or what grammar it was called to be able to go look it up. So like you keep seeing said, but you didn't know what a reflexive verb was. So now that you know reflexive verbs, you could go to YouTube and look up the many, like, the reflexive verbs, and then there'll be people on there that are explaining it to you for you to get a better understanding of it. You know what I'm saying? Now that you have a word to put to like what that thing is. So yeah, reflexive verb can be one. And then said with the reflexive verb is when something like what Chelsea said, is something that's being done to oneself, but in the third person. So he or she. So you'll never say you'll say in terms of like what I did to myself. There's mete, le, nos, stuff like that. And so yeah, I would recommend, if you need me to, I can send you some links to some videos for you to watch to get that.
Okay.
But do you have any questions for anything that's a little bit more not complex that we can help you with today? Because that was a little complex.
Yeah, I don't know. I just been dwelling on the grammar. I'm sure I do. I just can't think of nothing right now at the moment.
That's no problem. That is no problem. So okay, so I think it's important because we're here to practice Spanish. So we need to speak some Spanish before we like get out of here. So
tenemos que hablar en español.
Hay que hablar en español.
Hay que hablar en español.
Hay que hablar. Someone said I'll hop out so you can hop in. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Okay, so okay, vamos a empezar por Elijah. ¿Qué le digo? ¿Qué le digo? Alguien que le haga una pregunta o algo para que hable en español. Alguien que quiere hacerle una pregunta a Elijah para que hable en español.
Yo tengo una pregunta para ti.
Dale.
¿Qué comiste hoy?
¿Qué comiste? Yo comí una pizza en el restaurante y yo creo que es verdad, pero yo no sé. Yo comí un pizza en el restaurante y sí, así.
Ok, una pizza y bebiste algo o tomaste algo con tu pizza o solamente comiste la pizza y no tomaste nada.
¿Qué? Dame otra vez.
¿Tú tomaste algo con tu pizza?
Oh, no.
Ok, entonces solamente comiste la pizza.
Ok.
No bebiste.
Yo no sé.
No bebiste o un vaso de agua.
Tú puedes responder con no tome nada con mi pizza.
Oh, ok. Sí, yo bebe una agua con mi pizza. Sí.
So what I just noticed there with you is, you know, that for you, Elijah, you understand the verb beber, to drink, instead of tomar.
Yeah. Sí,
okay.
Sí.
So tomar and beber both mean to drink.
Okay.
Right. They both mean to drink.
I think I confused it with.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah, I confused it with the word. Like I know sometimes I'll say like toma tarjeta. Like if I go into like a Spanish market, like do you take card? Like take. But I just didn't. So
¿Así lo diría Chelsea y Kendall? ¿Toman tarjeta? ¿Así lo dirían ustedes dos?
No, yo digo, se aceptan tarjetas o are cards accepted. Se aceptan tarjetas.
Okay.
O puedo usar mi tarjeta.
Yeah, that's better. Are cards accepted? So you wouldn't use tomar in that sense. That's more like you translating from English directly to Spanish.
Okay.
So you would say se aceptan.
Se aceptan.
Se aceptan las tarjetas.
Las tarjetas.
And I was just going to comment. Don't let it trip you up. So when you're talking about I ate, yo comí, like that. It's an I. It has an E sound to it, but it's comí. I think you were saying come or something similar. I got what you were saying, but it's comí, like with the I.
Okay.
I think it was beber. You're supposed to say bebí.
Bebí.
Yeah, that's
bebí. Yeah.
Okay.
Bebí. I drunk. Another one, Elijah. Are you familiar with how to say, like? Because I know you know how to say card, but do you know how to say cash? Like, how would you say, like, do you guys accept cash or card?
Efectivos.
Efectivo, yeah.
Muy bien. Super
Okay.
bien en efectivo.
A lot of times they'll say cash. Puedo pagar con cash. But the
Hola,
more
Javier.
efectivo.
Efectivo.
Hey,
¿Cómo estás?
estoy bien.
Qué bueno. Jameer, so I don't know if you met Elijah and Mr. Kendall, but Mr. Kendall, so Elijah's right now living in the Dominican Republic. I think he's been there like tres meses, si no me equivoco.
No, that's me.
No, I know. I'm saying, how long have you been there? Tres meses?
Yes.
Yes. So Mr. Kendall used to live there. He studied abroad over there in Dominican Republic.
Oh, I heard about studying abroad, but they were saying Spain, so I said no. But,
What part of the Dominican Republic are you in? ¿En qué parte estás?
estaba viviendo en Santo Domingo, pero ahora estoy en este.
Oh, okay. ¿Y cómo te gusta? ¿Cómo te gusta?
Me gusta mucho, pero algo que no me gusta es que la gente está diciendo es muy peligroso en mi parte, a donde estoy viviendo, pero en mi experiencia no es muy peligroso. Es con calma.
Bueno, depende en lo que haces.
Los frailes.
Hay un dicho, if you look for trouble, you'll find it. I think a lot of people that go to the Dominican Republic, they're involved in the wrong thing. And so they get themselves into trouble.
For sure.
For you, Mr. Kendall, ¿has aprendido algunas palabras dominicanas cuando vivías allá?
Sí, he aprendido mucho. Déjame pensar. ¿Qué es lo que maní?
¿Qué es lo que más?
A lot of people, they probably don't know where that came from. So I'm so old that I've seen it transform over the years. So hermano got shortened to mano.
Right.
From hermanito, you get manito. And then if you shorten manito, you get mani. You know, so that's where you get mani from, you know. Que lo que mani.
Oh, mani is also it's a kind of food. What's mani?
It's also
peanut butter.
Yeah, yeah. So that's also what mani means as well.
Yeah.
You use the word vaina.
Oh, vaina.
Vaina.
Yeah, vaina means just about anything, you know, instead of saying cosa, you know, say vaina.
I don't know if y'all heard, but I was on Instagram, and of course the algorithm does what it does, but I had came across a video of that phrase, and there was a lot of discourse in the comments between native Dominicans and Dominicans from New York, and they were saying that that phrase is similar to what us Black people refer to each other as.
Okay.
There was discourse between the two different groups. Of course, everyone's Dominican, but a lot of them were saying, native or not, were saying that is what it means, and they were prohibited from using it in their household. Others were saying that it doesn't mean that, and it's similar to saying my brother, but it's just shortened. So I'm not sure if you have ever heard of that, Kendall, but that was something else that I did see on Dominican Instagram.
I always hear Dominicans saying vaina, you know, que vaina.
No, that's the other one.
Mani.
Mani. Say.
Oh, mani. No, I hear that all the time. Cuarto is another word. Instead of saying money, they'll say cuarto. But there's a lot of when you say slang, there's a lot of stuff that they drop over there. Like
absolutely, yeah.
Like all conjugations of estar, they drop the es from the beginning. So instead of saying yo estaba ahí, I was there, they would say yo estaba ahí. You know, and that's where you get como tú estás, because it's really como tú estás, but they drop the es from the beginning and the s on the end, so you get left with ta. And you'll hear them saying tú a lot in the Dominican Republic, because if you drop the es from the beginning and the s on the end, that could be él está, you know, ella está, tú estás. It could be so many things. So you got to put the tú back in there so it makes sense. So in a lot of Dominican slang where you just use ta, or, you know, even if it's a different tense, but uses estar, they're going to use tu, you know? So yeah, in the Dominican Republic, just get used to not pronouncing S. They drop it from every part of the word. Like, I remember somebody said refresco, and I was like, refresco, what is that? Refresco.
I know I have some friends from like Costa Rica, Nicaragua. A lot of them, they use usted form way more than the tu form.
Mm-hmm.
Like way more. And even for myself, I've been speaking Spanish for so long, but even me, I'm not the best when it comes to like conjugating in the usted form. Only because I've just spent so much of my time like tu. Do you guys have like struggle with that like at all? Like struggling to conjugate in the usted form, or like
I don't use that at all.
You don't use it at all?
For me, not so much because I have to use it at work. Because I don't obviously refer to my customers as tu, so I have to use it so much that no, it's not that hard for me, just out of practice.
Okay. What about for you, Ronnie?
I definitely feel you with that one. Like I feel like it's not like it's hard to use, but it is like a little. I used to the tu form way more. And so yeah, I never, when I go up to people, and I know it's more of a formal thing. I don't know, even with like mis suegros y con ellos, I just use tu because it's just like, I don't know, it's more simple, and it's like, you know, it's sometimes, I guess, like you said, you could trip up a little thinking about the el ella or the usted, like, you know, confusing them. And sometimes if people are using it and you're just not like thinking about it in the moment, like you might think like, wait, they're talking to me or they're talking about another person. So it's like, I don't know, it is a little bit like tricky at times, but like, you know, it's with context, it's usually fine for me, I'd say.
And for you, Elijah, with you learning Spanish, are you incorporating the usted form at all, or?
No, I've mainly just used tu, but I haven't been in like a formal setting, or I just haven't really used the usted form with the person before. I don't think so.
Okay. And then now, just having this conversation with us, do you plan on learning it, or?
Yeah, I plan on using it more. I know how to use it a little bit. I just haven't used it because I'm just more used to like the tu form, kind of like Ronnie said. It's just like it's more like comfortable, but I need to practice that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muy bien. ¿Y qué más? Yo creo que es todo, pues no sé, yo no tengo más preguntas. ¿Ustedes tienen preguntas para cada uno o no tienen nada?
No tengo una pregunta.
No tienes pregunta. Kendall, usted sabe que yo soy panameño y que Ronnie también es panameño.
Sí, yo sé que ustedes son panameños. Yo tengo una pregunta para ustedes. ¿Cuál es un plato típico de Panamá?
Un plato típico de Panamá. ¿Qué tú dirías, Ronnie? Porque tú eres el que has visitado ese país. Yo nunca he ido para Panamá.
Bueno, un plato típico de Panamá sería uno de mis favoritos. Bueno, un plato típico de Panamá hay un plato que se llama, bueno, es un plato que se llama sauce, pero este plato no es de todo de Panamá, es solamente un plato típico de los barrios africanos o barrios caribeños, mejor dicho, donde vienen los morenos. Ese plato es bien popular y se llama sauce. Pero en Panamá, en general, un plato típico, hay un desayuno que se llama, es hojaldre con
hojaldre.
Exacto, hojaldre es bien común en toda la ciudad, en todo el país.
Hojaldre, are you familiar with hojaldre, Mr. Kendall?
No, pero yo voy a usar la palabra del día, sé. ¿Cómo se hace sauce?
Sauce, ok. Sauce es bien, bueno, no es bien complicado, pero como yo no soy un chef, no puedo prepararlo. pero es como se hace con la pata de cerdo. Yo creo necesitas pata de cerdo y tienes que hervir la pata y de ahí la tienes que sazonar usando es como un vinagre del jugo de pepino y qué más, y otras sazones, yo creo. Pero es así, es como tú pones la pata en un bol y la pata tiene que quedarse ahí en ese jugo de vinagre con pepino. Y ese jugo da sabor a la pata y ahí se hace. Es algo así. Yo nunca he hecho un sauce, pero yo sé que se hace así y sí, sabe muy rico, sabe muy bien. Es algo que si vas a Panamá algún día, tienes que probar el sauce, definitivamente. Y hay otra cosa, Demantre, probablemente sabes también que un desayuno muy típico o común en los barrios caribeños ahí se llama chicheme.
Chicheme,
¿Has escuchado de chicheme?
Sí, yo sé lo que es chicheme. Chicheme es como una bebida, ¿verdad?
Exacto, es como una bebida.
Ok, de maíz.
De maíz, exacto.
Sí, chicheme. So they have that. El plato que tú acabas de describir, yo no sé qué es eso. Yo tengo que preguntarle a mi abuelita y a mis tías, porque es muy probable que ellos sepan. Pero otra comida que también es muy típico, el, ¿cómo es? El bistec picado.
Sí, exacto, el bistec picado,
El
eso
bistec
también.
picado, empanada también, arroz con pollo, carimañola. ¿Conoces carimañola?
Sí, es una fritura, es una comida frita o
Yeah.
algo así.
Hay muchas comidas, but those are the main ones. So you have arroz con pollo, you have the bistec picado, which is like, ¿cómo lo describirías, Ronnie, el bistec picado?
El bistec picado no es como un bistec cortado o algo en pedazos o algo así con sazón, o me equivoco.
A ver, yo les enseñé una foto. Esto aquí es bistec picado. A ver.
Oh, sí, es bistec con, ¿cómo se dice?
Pimientas dulces.
Exacto, sí, pimientas dulces. Se me olvidó la palabra. Pero...
En Panamá el arroz no puede faltar.
Exacto. Y cuando
Oh, and also, I want to say, they don't call it plátano. Es plátano, ¿verdad?
Maduro.
es patacones.
Patacones, yeah. So they call it patacones over there.
Tostones.
Tostones, okay. Is that
Exacto.
what do they say? What do they use tostones?
Puerto Rico.
Okay, the Republic. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I've heard it in Miami, so I don't know if it's Cuban or what.
Okay. Oh man. So have any of you guys run into any Cubans at all?
Yeah.
Yes, I worked with one.
You work with one? Okay. I think their accent is, first of all, it's really great. But I remember when I was first starting out, I couldn't understand Cubans, Puerto Ricans. Like I just couldn't. I know what they were saying. But today, like I have a pretty good understanding. ¿Cuál es el acento más difícil para ti que no entender en español?
Los cubanos.
Los cubanos.
Sí, pero mi ex esposa era cubana. Entonces yo sé bailar salsa. Yo fui a Cuba 4 veces. Y también viviendo en Miami, like I'm used to hearing Cuban speak, so I can keep up.
Pretty interesting. Yo creo que es todo por el día de hoy. I think that's everything for today, guys. I am a little sick. I have strep throat, and so I still came on today for you guys. Again, I'm going to be here tomorrow. Kendall, if you didn't know, I go live 6 days a week from 6:30 to 8 o'clock Texas time. I'm in Texas. So if you ever want to come back and join, talk with other people who are learning, there's always somebody here, so you always can come. The link will be in the comments. You can click on it like how you did today and come on. Jameer, thanks for always coming. Chelsea, I really appreciate you as well. Also sharing your knowledge in Spanish and helping me out. Ronnie, un placer volver a verte, siempre hablarte. And for Mr. Elijah, thank you again for being here. Again, if you want to like write anything down or anything that you want us to help you to go over or to get better with, just write it down. And every time you come here, you let us know. We'll do the best we can to get you to understand it.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Genial. This was great.
¿Qué fue?
Dije que espero que te sientas mejor. Cuídate.
No, I've been really sick today. I had strep throat and like I have a headache. But I was like, there's no way I cannot show up today, so I'm here. But yeah, after this, I'm gonna take some medicine and probably go to sleep. But that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Un placer conocerte, Kendo. Gracias por venir.
Igual.
And yeah, guys, if y'all decide to come back tomorrow I will be here.
All right, sounds good.
All right. I hope you guys
thanks for everything.
Great conversation, great talk. So thank you guys. To everybody in the comments, Aziel, I thank you so much for always being here. It was so nice to meet you, Miss Shannon. And then Sharma, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I did see your comment, so thank you so much for that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Igual.
Chao.
Buenas noches.